April 12th, 2025. We're going to pretend like it is April 10th, 2025. Today's character is Disgust. Decided to try something different. Ah! Ah! Decided to try something different for this episode. Today we're going to be discussing things that I find disgusting. If you hear the fan, pause. If you hear a buzzing noise in the background, that is my ceiling fan. I'm not going to turn it off. Here's a list of things that I find disgusting. Excuse me. Zoom in, zoom in. Thank you. In no particular order. Things I find disgusting. Those thumbnails where a guy or a girl is in the middle making a wincing face. They usually have a white border around them, and they either have wiggly yellow text or curved yellow text around them that says something really annoying and corny as hell, like fascism. That's a big oopsie. That is disgusting. People who say let people enjoy things and then don't let people hate things, which is hypocritical and disgusting. The people who say saying let people enjoy things is gay and then forget proper hate etiquette. Because if you're going to hate, you should do it with manners. Manners. You should do it with manners. You should do it with manners. Anytime I'm having a conversation with someone, mainly coworkers, and they pause for a while, prompting me to respond, or so I think, and so I come up with a response, and they immediately interrupt me and say some more bullshit I don't know how to respond to. The other day I was talking to a coworker. They were talking about buying a new computer, and it was an uncomfortable long amount of silence. So I said, yeah, I have a Lenovo Legion 5. And then they immediately interrupted me and said, I've been looking at Hewlett Packard at Best Buy's website. And it's just like, you're impossible to talk to. Because they don't acknowledge that they just interrupted you. They're very much in their own head. And the worst part is, they refuse to make eye contact with you talking. So, like, I can't even tell if they're done talking yet or not. And of course, this isn't everybody's fault. Not a lot of people can make eye contact while talking to people, and that's completely fair. But they're the one who initiated the conversation. So if you're not ready for it, I don't know why we're talking. And then they always have to end off the conversation saying something like, oh, I make conversations so awkward. You do. But I'm not going to agree with you, because I just want to get back to work. Whenever I'm at the register at my job, and I say, hey, how are y'all doing today? And they go, my phone number is 403, and they can start saying their phone number, I would unironically, literally, and sincerely be less offended if you spit in my face. If you could just sneak in the words, fine, or I'm like doing fine, before you start telling me your phone number, that literally makes such a world of difference. I gotta stop saying literally. Literally, saying the word literally improperly is on this list. Any hard drive or any form of digital media storage that is formatted in anything but exFAT. The other day I was using my terabyte-sized hard drive to move some files when it told me that a file I was trying to move onto the hard drive, GTA San Andreas, was too big for the hard drive, which is not correct. There was only 20 gigabytes of information on the hard drive. It was formatted incorrectly in a format that only supported files smaller than 4 gigabytes. That makes absolutely no sense. Why does that exist? I will never know. That is disgusting. Anytime a company charges me for a large, what does that say? Anytime a company charges me a lot for a piece of equipment that includes a charging cable that only supports power and not data, because if we're already $270 into this endeavor, just charge me an extra $15 for a cable that's worth a damn, that has a 12% chance of outlasting the device that you've specifically designed to die after 5 years. That is all I'm asking. If I'm ordering a phone from you and you include a charging cable inside that does not support data transfer, what the fuck is the point of including a cable at all? I already have 30 of them. It's only worth a damn to me if I could use it for data. Because if I could use it for data and power, that means I could use it for most things. If I can only use it for power, what the fuck is the point in having it? Just throw in a better one for an extra 15 bucks as if I'm even going to notice. That is disgusting. Speaking of prices, people who complain about things getting too expensive who are never going to buy them in the first place. This is not a specific example, but it is an example I'm going to use that is relevant to the incident that occurred that led to this entry being on this list. Talking about phones, somebody was like, yeah, after these tariffs take in, these phones are going to be $3,000. How do they expect us to live? We expect you to live by buying one phone and taking care of it. This whole like new phone every 2 years kind of stuff, I never understood. Some people live by it. They're like, yeah, I got a new phone. Like, yeah, I got a new phone. Like, I change. I'm not saying everybody should live by the way that I live, but I feel like I work at a pretty active job with a decent amount of risk using my phone extremely regularly throughout the day. I can get a phone through 6, 7, 8 years. And if you only have to spend $400 or $500 every 6, 7, 8 years to replace your phone, that ain't too bad. 2 grand for a new iPhone every 2 years? I just don't understand it. What is that lifestyle? Never understood it. That is disgusting. People who say you shouldn't be spreading dangerous ideas or this guy is spreading dangerous ideas, like we just figured out that the brain is evil and needs to be tamed like a dog. Like, do you think some guy is gonna be like, oh, what the fuck? The Holocaust? Oh, god damn it! Why didn't I think of that? That was such a good idea. In my opinion, there's no such thing as evil ideas. There's just evil people. Well, let me rephrase that. There are evil ideas, but there's not dangerous ideas. There's just dangerous people. That's what I meant to say. Shows with really bad writing and jokes who pretend like they get to talk about politics like big kids at the table. But here's the trade-off. If you don't make me laugh, you don't get to talk about politics. If you're Family Guy and the joke is Peter going, I'm a crack dealer now, so I'm gonna look outside the door and hold my gun out like a crack dealer. And then you milk that joke for 2 minutes. You don't get to immediately do a 180 and talk to me about how Trump is running America poorly, you know? Like, it doesn't like you're mature 100% of the time and you get to make those claims, or you're funny 100% of the time and you get to make fun of those claims. Like, or fun with those claims. You know? You can't just make a bunch of shitty jokes and then take a stance. Cause I'm only so angry about this because, you know, like, and of course I'm obviously only specifically talking about Family Guy, but when you just like close your eyes and you can see like a California writing room filled with a bunch of 30-year-olds who are all high, who think they're 20, and they can start complaining about shit. They throw out a lot of shitty jokes, and then they throw out a lot of takes. Whether they're shitty or not is up to the eye of the beholder. The fact that they're throwing them in there with shitty jokes just makes me think that they're shitty takes. Because if your jokes are shitty, then I'm just gonna assume that your opinion is shitty. So why the fuck are you bothering? You know, just like do one or the other. Make a good show that's funny, or make a serious show that's smart. You don't get to make Family Guy hold sincere political takes. You can when the writing's good, like early writing. You know, you're allowed to do that because your show is good. So whether or not I agree with your takes it's completely irrelevant. I'm watching a good show. When I'm watching a bad one, and then you just like you're doing what is it called, tuck front jokes, you know? It's just like, where's my slop? Like I want slop, and you're trying to slip in like filet mignon, like, you know, like what you're doing. You don't. You're a slop maker. Make me more slop. That is my opinion, and every time it happens on the show, guess what? That's disgusting. Phones that lock basic features behind other products that I could not even begin to care about. For example, I own a Google Pixel 6a, $250-ish phone, best phone I ever bought in my life. Lasts a while. Lasts a while. Has a good screen. Has good battery life. Plenty of storage. My only complaint is that the phone. It would be nice if the phone had a headphone jack, but that's about it. My only other complaint is that a very common feature on phones nowadays. Excuse me. A very common feature on phones nowadays is screen mirroring. I would love to mirror the screen of my phone. Unfortunately, knowing my luck, this phone is like one of the very last Google Pixel phones fucking ever to not let you screen mirror unless you own a Google Chromecast. What the fuck is a Google Chromecast? I've never even heard of one. I've never even seen one in stores. I looked it up. It's the fucking Google Chrome logo and it hangs out the back of your TV like a butt plug. What the fuck kind of disrespectful shit is that? You want me to spend $45 on your little fucking Roku clone so I can mirror my fucking phone to my TV? That's fucking stupid. It's fucking dumb. Screen mirroring on the device works. You want to know why? Because when I turn it on and I go to Roku and I search for screen mirrorable devices, this thing pops up for half a fucking second. That means that there's a line of code in this goddamn thing that just stops it from working because they want me to buy a fucking Google Chromecast. What kind of fucking dumb bullshit is that? That is disgusting. People who make borderline softcore porn online, and because it's just straight up not naked people, they label it 16 plus. I have news for you, buddy. If you're drawing somebody with big tits and their ass hanging out, that's drawn with the intention of giving somebody a boner. Porn is also drawn with the intention of giving somebody a boner. If you're drawing it with the intent of giving somebody a boner, either don't label it at all or label it 18 plus. The 16 plus bullshit is so fucking stupid. It's so you act like you're labeling your content 18 plus, and immediately like a 17-year-old is gonna be like, oh man, I can't. It says 18 plus. I can't click on it. Like it's fucking Wacky Races. You're a fucking idiot, and that is disgusting. People who say, or rather, people who make videos that say it's worse than you remember. And like in red text, like it's the most dramatic thing on the planet. This is worse than you remember. It's literally not. Either I've never heard of it or it's exactly as bad as I remember. Fuck off. It is not worse. Like you know me. I'm going I can't say I'm gonna kill people. I got in trouble the other day for doing that. Yeah, you whining about it for 40 minutes is not gonna change my mind. I have 3 more points in the things that I find disgusting. However, these next 3 points are labeled the hot takes. So instead of ending them with that's disgusting, I'm just not going to end them with anything at all because these are hot takes. Hot takes round number 1. Mid movies that leave a lot of unanswered questions aren't complex and deep. You're just gullible and like to use adjectives like harmoniously and complimentary. You're an idiot. Anybody who makes a YouTube video about protecting your privacy is a hypocritical idiot. We're both on the same website, run by the same tech giant. They know what files we both download. They know what we look up even if we don't use Google. And they're reading this script as I'm writing it and using it as AI fuel, and there's just not a goddamn thing that I'm going to be able to do about it. Or you, or anybody. If we're on the internet, if you care about privacy, you should just not be on the internet. If you're on the internet preaching about privacy, you fucking made mistake number 1. You're like a fat person on a diet who just bought themselves Simply Cheetos. Like you just failed. You just failed. Doesn't make any fucking sense. If you are truly that passionate about privacy, then I should not know who you are. You know? Does that make sense? I feel like that could make sense to a lot of people. This one's a bit more complex. This one I didn't think out as well, but I'm going to echo it because this is what I feel. But this opinion has not been finally translated to perfectly reflect exactly what I feel. But I'm just gonna put it out there because who even made it this far? Anybody who has ever said that having a career as an artist is no longer viable because of AI generated creation, uh, are walking pillars of irony, because it is only people with that mentality that make that reality possible. So, the only way that a reality where art no longer exists and is all replaced by AI is ironically only possible by the people who think that reality is possible. Because you could just not fucking support it. It's that goddamn easy to just pass it up. And that in itself is enough to prevent shit like that from happening. Which, in my personal opinion, I just don't believe it will. I feel like more people like to make shit than they like to just slop shit out. I think more people know what it feels like to be fulfilled, or would like to know what it feels like to be fulfilled over anything else. Um, Also, we're pretending like that was ever easy in the first place. Like, starving artist was never a fucking archetype, and by archetype I mean the only archetype for artists. Like, what? There's been 17 people on the goddamn planet in this day and age who have ever been successful with just living off of commissions. Like, that's ever fucking possible. Like, literally, like 12 people. AI art changes none of that. People who were not going to pay for your art then are people who are not paying for your art now. We're not going to pay for your art pre what is it called? They were not going to pay for your art pre AI generation. They just have a different option now. You know, they were never your customer in the fucking first place. That's just the way I see it. Um, we have a little bit of time left, so let me lean forward. Water break. Just kidding. There's no water bottle here. For the sake of fun, I will be describing the things that I would do to Disgust from Inside Out and related movie Inside Out 2. Um, I will be referring to Disgust as a roasted chicken for the sake of censorship. If I ever, in a million years, I could be walking dead as a zombie, ever saw that roasted chicken walking around in the pajamas that I draw her in today, Your Honor, specifically the ones that she wore in the second movie, with all consent out of the way and taken care of, the things that I would do to her, if even alluded to, would get me banned from every single Google service on the planet. The silk nightgown and hair cap that she wears turn me into a feral beast with boiling blood. I would exhaust every absolute last calorie of every absolute last atom of my being into focused energy to laser focused rip her clothes off from thread to thread. Like a hungry bear ripping into a sack of beets just before a winter's hibernation. By the time that I was finished with her, so many fluids would be expelled from all orifices from both parties that I would need a minimum of 14 gallons of water and 12 gallons of Gatorade to recover all the electrolytes that I need in my body to survive. Am I still recording?